Hi guys, George here with another action after report for the Advanced Squad Leader Scenario J41 by ourselves. Fina, Norway, 11th of May 1940. So it's an engagement between Norwegians and Germans. This is one of the scenarios that I played during the last Kaslo virtual tournament. I played as the Germans. And in the tournament, this is a scenario that I did win. Uh, uh, Basically because one of the victory conditions is getting 10 casualty victory points uh, against the allies, and I did manage to uh, cause some damage. Now, I said it was an inadvertent victory because we were not playing the mortars according to the proper rules. Mortars always fire on the area uh, target type, and we were adding the TEM to the to hit rule as opposed to the to kill rule. Um, as we all know, uh, that with the mortars, they always fire on the area to hit table or area target type, and then in addition to that, the TEM is subsequently added to half the firepower of whatever the mortar might be. However, what was interesting was they have a rate of fire of 3, so I was able to sustain rate on the mortars and really get some interesting rolls. Um, in addition, you can end up well, you do end up having concealment to begin with, and you have some reinforcements. You have troops that are 468, which they have a high morale, excellent leaders. The same can be said um, for the Norwegians, but here you have 12 squads, and here you have a total of uh, well, you start off with 5, but soon after, on turn 3, you get an additional 6 for 11. So it's nearly 1-to-1 odds. So in the first 3 turns, if you don't make any progress, your goose is cooked. So let's see what happened. This time around, I decided to play the Norwegians because I had a plan. My opponent had a good plan as well. And so the victory went to Ken Rutkowski. I'm sorry if I massacred your name, Ken. And this is the end of turn 1. Here's the German sniper. In the beginning, it didn't do much damage. Um, uh, this stack here had I believe a 7-0 leader, 2 squads, 4.57s, or yep, and 2 medium machine guns that could reach nearly the beginning of his setup, which was here. He had a mortar set up here, and I believe another mortar uh, right down here, or right here in the foxhole actually. So the motors in this case did not fare well. My plan was is I set up here, so I drop below the bridge, and this is another mistake that we've done. To drop below the bridge, I only instead of incurring 2 movement factors, I incurred 1. I went CX, went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I believe this is where I advanced to. Uh, this advance went relatively well and very cautious. Nobody got a shot at me. Um, I believe what I did here was try to advance to this hill instead of staying back here. Let's see if we can go uh, to the next slide. So Axis turn 2. Let's zoom in on the map and see how it progressed. Uh, Not much different than before. Um, the idea was pop into the woods and then either go in this direction here towards the factory or continue down this path and try to capture these buildings here. Basically, the German player just stood in position Didn't do much in terms of firing. Let's see if we can get to ally turn 2 and see how things progressed. Oops. Let's go back to turn 2. The ally turn, great. And zoom in on the map. Well, here you have it. Um, I decided to divide my forces. A portion went here, and a portion got DM'd and retreated back, trying to advance on the mortar here. This fellow revealed himself. This stack was a phony stack. Um, the sniper, the Axis sniper, did manage to break a unit. At the moment that the SAN was activated, what happened was it was a small SAN, rolled a 2. The leader was in a building. The squad was in the open terrain. So you have to go to where the lowest temp exists and broke a squad, which managed to retreat all the way back to the start line and was not able to self rally or do much at all. Um, the motor here managed to break, and then it just got off the. He completely melted it, and the crew here for the motor um, uh, didn't do so well. And here with the 7.0, 2 squads and 2 medium machine guns on this hill, he has a direct line of sight to here. He also has a direct line of sight to here, and I believe all the way down to here, um, which was a pretty good position to be in. But again, uh, turn 2, here you have it. Turn 3, this substantial force will enter from down here. This is a factory, so with factory movement, it's 2 to enter and then 1 within the building, which can bring him all the way down here, and he can um, stave off um, any advance from here. Here you got a choice. You can either go down here and follow the wood line and try and capture these buildings. I decided to split my forces, and I wanted to know what was going on here, and some of them went here and some of them went there, which was probably not a good idea, but at the same token, my advance here failed, and once I tried to get past this hill, again the Germans were effective by repulsing my move with 1 squad alone. The um, the um, the mortar here was not too effective at all. Let's move to the other slide. So this is the German turn 2. There we go. Zoom in. Um, Again, what happened here was uh, the German player just moved his leader here to attempt to rally these squads. He got pinned, but eventually you'd see he was able to completely repulse this attack here with 1 squad alone. And I'm not too sure if this fellow here had much of an impact. Um, he didn't succeed in doing much despite the immense amount of firepower. Um, and here you have him broke, but not the M. This fellow here, this squad here, just completely routed. And the good thing was the mortar. The mortar broke trying to repulse this fellow here and repulse any attack from moving down the edge of the board. Okay. Next slide. Again, this was a very enjoyable game. Uh, when your opponent is a mild-mannered gentleman, we're playing with the rules to the best of our ability, and there's fair play. It really goes a long way. Again, here they have an excellent fire group. Over perhaps 20 or 36 firepower factors, um, and we weren't able uh, to repulse this guy at all. Uh, the other broken squad just ended up going to the woods here, and we were hoping to self rally and bring him back, CX and bring him back to no avail. Staller, he was also ineffective, but he managed to low crawl back to here without incurring any interdiction. Um, the squads here um, managed to break this mortar, and the mortar was not able to self rally. They My biggest mistake here is instead of pressing the attack against this unit here and trying to gain a good position where I can bring a lot of firepower to the reinforcements that are about to come in, is I decided to go after this building here and this unit here, which was uh, just a dummy. Uh, and then I had to split my forces, which was a big no-no. And I didn't bring him into the fight at all. And I had plenty of opportunity to do so, but it just didn't happen. There were a lot of lessons learned. German. Oops, hold on. Alright, let's zoom in. Uh, German Axis phase. He simply skulked on the 468 and brought in a dummy stack. After exacting a morale check, which the Norwegian player, that's me, failed. And going CX, the German player just brought in an immense amount of firepower, evening the fight against the Norwegians. Not much I can do. I decided to deploy a half squad to go after this building here. He's broken. He will eventually route all the way back here, get fired upon again, but then he will again route to this axe and self rally up and get back into the fight. And I'm running out of time. So on to the next phase, I believe. Oops. Uh, well, that PNG file uh, did not have was not a valid file. But to make a long story short, basically what happened was my attack stalled right about here and right about here. Um, Once the reinforcements came in, whatever gains I had made up here uh, just weren't well enough to 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 win the game for me. In addition to that, uh, what was good was I must have managed only one squad KIA in two increments of half squads. So I did fairly well in terms of um, having my troops survive and uh, extol a good assault. But in terms of pressing the attack to the extent of capturing the required victory objectives, that's where I failed miserably. In part, um, I should have noticed on this end that moving my troops along this axis instead of splitting them up or splitting a portion of this way and a bigger proportion there um, uh, would have been better. Uh, would not have been actually better. It would have been better if I pressed the attack full-heartedly here and not allowed a half squad to go looking for these two buildings. There was um, much more to gain here than to go around here with just a half squad. That was, I guess, the dumbest move. And by the time the half squad came along this axis here, this powerful stack of uh, uh, comprised of a great leader and powerful 468s with a heavy support weapon. I didn't really stand a chance. We played it to the end, and it was a great game. The Germans won, and I hope to either play it again or play with the same player, another scenario, and bring you a great AR. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Take care. Bye.